Governments in some parts of the world set their focus on the doldrums of environmental degradation. Doldrums? Ano ba yung doldrums? Ano ba yun? Ba yung tinatambol? Kunwari, naintindihan ko na lang. Pero naku, dapat maintindihan ko talaga. Wala pa naman akong dictionary. Hello students and hello everyone. This is Sir Jonel Rocha. Have you ever experienced the same scenario when you encounter an unfamiliar word or a difficult word and it so happened that you do not have a dictionary with you? If so, what did you do? Did you just skip the word? Or just like what we saw in the dramatization, did you just pretend that you understand that word? Well, if you did just so, that's very dangerous. Why? Because failure to understand that unfamiliar word will be equivalent to not understanding the whole passage. In other words, if we want to understand the whole meaning of what we're reading, we should not skip and we should unlock the meaning of that unfamiliar word. So what can help us? Context clues. What are context clues in the first place? Well, context clues are words that appear in sentences that help us understand the meaning of difficult words. Yes, from the word itself, clues. And these clues can be found inside the sentence. So, how can we identify and analyze these context clues? And what are the different types of it? That is exactly what we will discuss in this lesson. So if you're ready, let's begin. So, hi guys. If you have our module in English 8, quarter number 1, module number 1, noting context clues, you can follow our discussion. We are now in page number 7. So, what are context clues again? Context clues are words that appear in sentences to help understand the meanings of difficult words. So they are inside the sentence. These clues are inside the sentence itself. So it's up to us to analyze the words inside the sentence in order for us to understand the difficult word. So here are the different types of context clues. We actually have 9. And the first one is by definition. Okay, so from the word itself, it is defined. The unfamiliar word is defined inside a sentence. Example, a treasure hunter is a person who searches for treasures from sunken ships and ancient tombs to obtain valuable relics and artifacts. So what's the unfamiliar word here? Treasure hunter. Now, how can we understand this unfamiliar word? By the context clues. And in this sentence, there's a definition. So what's a definition? A person who searches for treasures. So using this definition, it's a giveaway. We learned the meaning of the word treasure hunter. A person who searches for treasure. So this is the easiest type of context clues. And we hope that each sentence, there are clues like this because it's like a spoon feeding. We're able to understand right away the meaning of the unfamiliar word by definition. Number 2 type of context clue is by synonym. Yeah. So we know that synonyms are words with the same meaning. So a similar word is placed in the same sentence to know the meaning of the unfamiliar word. So that's what happens. There's a synonym. There's a similar word inside a sentence. So here's an example. It is common for Filipinos to feel compassion or pity for the suffering of their fellow men. So see, because of the word or, which means equals, we learned that the word compassion means pity, or related to the word pity. So that is by synonym. Next is by antonym. Antonyms are words with the opposite meaning. So an opposite word is placed in the same sentence. So in this case, there's an opposite word. There was a word inside the same sentence. Example. Among the siblings of thin body structure, Isabel is the one who is portly. The unfamiliar word here is portly. So what's our clue? If we try to analyze the sentence, the word portly has an antonym here, which is the word thin. All we have to do now is to think of the antonym of the word thin. What is it? Yes, it helps us to understand that the meaning of portly is fat or somewhat fat or stout, something like that. So using the antonym or the opposite word of the unfamiliar word, you'll be able to know its meaning. Number 4 type of context clue is by comparison. So how is it? A similar word with the same meaning of the unfamiliar word is placed with an object to be compared. So this time there's an object to be compared. Example. The stench of the garbage was like the smell of a rotten fish. Stench is the unfamiliar word. How can we learn its meaning? By the context clue. What is the word being compared to the word stench here? Yes, rotten fish. So using this comparison, we understand that the meaning of stench is something like a foul smell. Okay. Smell of a garbage. Okay. So that's the meaning of the word stench. So by comparisons in the sentences, we're able to understand the meanings of words. Another type of context clue is what we call samples. Okay. By example. So in this case, samples are provided by the sentence to understand the meaning of the unfamiliar word. So earlier, there's a comparison. Now there are examples inside the sentence. In ancient times, some of our forefathers believed in amulets, such as a pearl of the crocodile, pearl of the axe, bullet necklace, the bag of herbs to protect them from harm. So what's the unfamiliar word here? Amulets. How can we understand amulets? Context clue. What's the word, or what are the words that help us to understand it? What are the clues inside the sentence? Pearl of the crocodile, pearl of the axe. These examples help us to understand that amulets are something that people wear to protect themselves from harm. Number 6, by explanation. So this type of context clue is a description given to understand the meaning of the unfamiliar word. Matthew had few infractions of the house rules that he should have done as part of his responsibilities. Infractions. So what is the meaning of infractions? What can help us to understand the word infractions? Explanation. House rules that he should have done. The house rules that he should have done. So from this example or explanation, we understand that the word infractions means violations because of the house rules that he should have done. So Matthew violated rules. That is by explanation. Number 7 type of context clue is by cause effect. In the previous years, you have learned cause-effect relationship. Cause being the reason and effect being the result. So the meaning of the difficult word depends on the cause-effect relationship of other words as expressed in the sentence. So let's see here in the example. Since only of a few follow the wearing of face mask, it was made mandatory by the government. So what's the meaning of the word mandatory? How can we understand it? Context clues. And this time, cause and effect. In this case, the word mandatory is part of the effect. So let's look at the cause. Only a few follow the wearing of face mask? So now we analyzed and realized that the meaning of mandatory is something that has to be followed, that has to be strictly followed because of our clue in the cause, which is only few follow the wearing of the face mask. That's why it was made mandatory. So using this cause and effect relationship, we can also identify the meaning of words. Sometimes in sentences, it's the other way around. The unfamiliar word is part of the cause. Then we will need to look at the effect side of the sentence in order for us to analyze the meaning of the unfamiliar word. Number 8. By list or series of clues. From the word itself, there is a series of clues mentioned in the sentence or given in the sentence. After the program, the rubbish left were souvenir programs, flyers, leaflets, plastic bottles, and food wrappings. So what's the list? Souvenir programs, flyers, leaflets, plastic bottles, food wrappings. All of these words help us to understand the meaning of the word rubbish. Garbage. So list or series of clues helps us understand the unfamiliar word. And finally, number 9. The 9th type of context clue is by inference. Now, to understand the meaning of the unknown word, one has to make a guess based on the description given in the sentence. So our keyword here, make a guess. Make a guess, because that's the meaning of the word inference. Example. When one shows belligerence, harsh words, disruptive actions, and offensive behaviors can be observed. What's the meaning of belligerence? Harsh words, disruptive actions, offensive behaviors. These are all negative attitude or actions. So perhaps belligerence is also negative. Yes. Belligerence in fact means aggressive or warlike behavior. So using or making a guess based on the words inside a sentence or inference, we can be able to understand the meaning of the unfamiliar word. So you see guys, these are just 9 of the types of context clues. And at first may be challenging to identify or to see and to analyze the meaning of the unfamiliar words using context clues, but it could be fun. And if you do it on a regular basis, you will certainly enjoy it. Another point is the advantage of having this video lesson. You can always go back to the part of the lesson that you were not able to understand fully, or you need some clarifications on this part. You can always go back by dragging the timeline, or how you call it. So there you have it guys. For us to enjoy what we're reading, we need to understand each word that we read. So what will we do the next time we encounter an unfamiliar or difficult word? Yes, take notice of the context clues found inside the sentence. Doldrums? Doldrums of environmental degradation. Ayun. Ang context clue niya dito ay itong phrase na to. Environmental degradation. Tama. So it must be letter B. Despair. Ayun ganun pala gumamit ng context clues. Madali lang pala. Now, I know.